In July of 2024, the National Park Service confirmed that a motorcyclist died from heat-related illness in Death Valley National Park. The temperature that day at Furnace Creek reached 128 degrees Fahrenheit. He was part of a group riding through the park on a summer trip. Another rider in the same group was hospitalized in critical condition. Park officials later noted that surface temperatures on the asphalt exceeded 180 degrees that day, hot enough to cause burns to skin in direct contact. There was no storm, no flash flood, no cliff, no current, no ice. The road was straight, the visibility was clear, nothing about the scene looked dangerous in the way danger usually looks in a photograph. That is the story of Death Valley. Not a single dramatic hazard, but an entire landscape engineered by geology to hold heat longer, radiate it harder, and hide its effects from the people standing inside it. Visitors arrive expecting a desert. What they walk into is closer to a convection oven with a scenic overlook. This was not a freak accident. It was not even rare. It was the latest entry in a pattern the Park Service has documented for years. Somewhere in Death Valley, almost every summer, a visitor underestimates how fast their body is losing water, and by the time they notice, the desert has already made the decision for them. Why people trust this place. Death Valley does not look like a place that kills quietly. It looks like the opposite. Badwater Basin, at 282 feet below sea level, is the lowest point in North America, and its white salt flat stretches out in every direction like a frozen lake made of crystal. Visitors park a short walk from a boardwalk, step onto the salt, and take a photograph that has become one of the most recognizable images of the American desert. The scale is part of the appeal. Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes near Stovepipe Wells rise and fall in soft curves that look almost gentle from the road, popular for sunrise photography because the low sun turns every ridge into shadow and light. Zabriskie Point offers a golden Badlands panorama that requires almost no physical effort to reach. Death Valley is one of the most photographed landscapes in the national park system, and nearly all of its most famous viewpoints are close to a parking lot. That accessibility creates a specific kind of confidence. The trailhead is short, the path looks flat. Other tourists are already out there in sandals and sundresses, walking toward the horizon with a phone held up for a photo. If it were truly dangerous, the visitor reasons, there would be a fence, a guard, a warning sign directly underfoot. The absence of visible danger becomes evidence that there is none. The image that captures this best is the salt flat itself, a landscape so white and so flat that it looks like the safest possible place to walk. No cliffs, no water, no wildlife in sight, just an open, sunlit surface stretching to distant mountains. It is also physically one of the most heat-exposed places a person can stand in North America. How the heat actually works. Death Valley is not simply hot, it's a basin roughly 156 miles long, boxed in by the Panamint Range to the west and the Amargosa Range to the east. Hot air rises off the valley floor during the day, but the surrounding mountains trap it, preventing it from escaping and cooling the way air does over open, unenclosed terrain. At night, some of that heat radiates back down from the rock walls, which is part of why Death Valley records some of the highest overnight low temperatures on Earth alongside its daytime extremes. On July 10, 1913, the park recorded an air temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit at Furnace Creek, a reading still recognized by the World Meteorological Organization as the highest reliably recorded air temperature on the planet. But the number on a weather app is only part of the danger. The National Park Service specifically warns that ground temperature in Death Valley can run 30 to 50 degrees hotter than the air temperature measured in the shade. A 120-degree day can mean a 165-degree salt flat or asphalt surface That heat does not just make walking uncomfortable, it radiates upward into the body from below at exactly the moment a hiker assumes their only exposure is from the sun overhead. Then there is the mechanism most people never learn until it is explained to them directly. Sweat in low humidity evaporates almost instantly. In a humid climate, sweat sits on the skin, visibly soaking through clothing, giving the body a clear signal of how much fluid it is losing. In Death Valley's extremely dry air, that same sweat evaporates before it accumulates. The cooling effect still happens, the warning sign does not. A person can lose more than a quart of water an hour through evaporation and never feel wet, never see it, and never register how urgently their body needs replacement fluid. This is the hidden system beneath Death Valley's danger. Not simply extreme heat, but extreme heat paired with an environment that erases the body's normal early warning signals. By the time a hiker feels thirsty, dizzy, or nauseated, they are already behind on hydration and behind in a place where shade may not exist for miles. The mistake that feels reasonable. No one walks into the Badwater salt flat believing they are risking their life. The decision that leads to heat illness in Death Valley almost never looks reckless in the moment. It looks like a series of small, ordinary choices. A visitor sees the boardwalk end and the open salt flat continue toward the mountains and decides to walk a little farther for a better photograph, one without other tourists in the frame. Distance across a flat, featureless white surface is difficult for the human eye to judge. There are no trees, no signs, no changes in elevation to calibrate scale. What looks like a 5-minute walk can be 20. What looks like 20 can be 40. A hiker on the Mesquite Flat Dunes starts at sunrise, when temperatures feel mild and stays past their planned turnaround time, because the light keeps improving and the dunes keep looking better from one ridge farther. Soft sand roughly doubles the energy cost of walking compared to a firm trail, according to National Park Service trail guidance, which means the return trip burns far more water and energy than the hiker accounted for on the way out. A motorcyclist wrapped in protective leather gear designed to prevent road injuries rides for hours through triple-digit heat with almost no ability to sweat cool exposed skin, while the physical effort of controlling a heavy motorcycle at highway speed adds a workload the body is already struggling to support. In every case, the person is not ignoring the danger, they simply cannot see it the way they can see a steep drop or a rising river. The desert does not announce its threat with a visible edge. It works internally inside the body, and by design, it works. The case of the missing family. In October of 1996, a German tourist named Egbert Rimkus, along with his son and 2 children from another family, drove into Death Valley's backcountry in a rented minivan and never returned. Their vehicle was found abandoned in a remote wash months later. Extensive searches through the 1990s failed to locate the family. The case, widely reported and later reinvestigated by independent researchers working with park rangers, remained unsolved for more than a decade. In 2009, hikers and searchers using updated satellite mapping located skeletal remains in a remote canyon in the park's rugged backcountry, roughly attributed by investigators to the missing group. Reporting at the time, including detailed accounts published by the Los Angeles Times, and independent investigator Tom Mahood indicated that the group had left the marked road, become disoriented in the maze-like canyon terrain, and were unable to find their way back before succumbing to the conditions. The case illustrates a version of the same danger that has nothing to do with a marked trail. Death Valley's backcountry offers almost no natural landmarks, distinguishable from one canyon to the next, no reliable cell signal, and few visitors likely to pass through the gate. Isolation compounds heat and dehydration, a mistake that would be recoverable near a parking lot with other tourists nearby and water in the car, becomes unrecoverable a few miles into unmarked terrain.